All right. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makar Honors to those I've learned from, those men that's constantly pushing out this word on the internet, keeping their sheep fed. We're thankful for that. Double honors to their teachers, the apostles of Israel. And shalom to those of Yasharallah seeking the truth, seeking righteousness, and hoping for edification. All right. Just want to hit this one real quick. Cease and desist. This one's been on my spirit. Of course, I meditated on it, prayed on it. And it's just it just brings me right back to that moment with Peter and Yahushua when the Romans came to gather him up. And it just hit me in my spirit that this cease and desist order that Peter received right there is ending. Peter is David in the reincarnation. He was a mighty warrior. And when that Roman officer came to take him, he by instinct he drew his sword and he was ready to go. So let's look up cease and desist. Cease and desist is denoting a legally enforceable order from a court or government agency directing someone to stop engaging in a particular activity. Again, it says, definition 2 says, denote a cautionary notice detailing the sender's complaint of alleged wrongdoing by the recipient and threatening legal action if the offending activity is not stopped. So pretty much, a lot of people like to say that, Peter was scared. Peter, he was always, wavering or something. No, Peter was ready to fight. But Yahushua told him, you will not be fighting in my name. You will not be drawing the sword in my name. He said, Peter, upon this rock I will build my foundation. Upon this rock he's going to build his church. So, he needed Peter to push out his church, but he's going to do it in a apostolistic way and not a way of the sword. He's going to push his word by preaching, by performing miracles to the lost sheep of Israel, throughout, Corinth, throughout the Jerusalem, throughout what we call today the Middle East. Peter wasn't supposed to bring his word out or push out the ministry by, way of the sword. He's going to push it out by way of, prophecy and preaching the kingdom to come, like Yahushua did when he was here. So right there, what is it? In John, cease and desist means he just stopped him. He said, look, in my name, you won't be drawing the sword. In my name, you will be preaching the word. So he gave Peter pretty much the house of David, that cease and desist order right there. And let's go with that. That's in John 18:10-12. It says, then Simon Peter, having drew a sword, Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and smote the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Then said Jesus unto Peter, put up thy sword in the sheath. The cup which my Father hath given me, shall I not drink it? Then the band and the captain and officers of the Jews took Yahushua and bound him and led him away to Annas first, for he was father into Caiaphas, which was the high priest that same year. Yeah. So pretty much they took Yahushua away, and Peter was given a cease and desist order. He was not to fight at all at that time to stop the prophecy from going forth. And let's just go to Matthew 26 and about 31. He said, Peter was going to deny Christ because it is prophecy. right here in Matthew 26 and 31. Then saith Yahushua unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. Right? He said, ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written. For it is written. You know, Peter can't overcome prophecy. None of us can overcome prophecy. Today, these Edomites are trying everything they can do to overcome prophecy, but they will not. It is written. Once it's written, it's there. That's set in stone. And once it's in, that's what's going to happen. That's how it's going to go down. So even though he wanted to follow Yahushua and, get him out of that situation, the only way he really knew how with his sword, Yahushua knew it was time. It was going to happen. And pretty much he wanted to console Peter because, Peter, he told him, he said, before this night, before the cock threw 3 times, you're going to, before the cock threw twice, you're going to deny me, Peter, 3 times. And, can you imagine the guilt you're going to feel knowing that you denied your master? You denied, your entire belief system, whatever you believe, your entire belief system, you denied it because someone on the street came up to you and accused you and said you're with that man. And he said, no, that wasn't me. Can you believe the guilt that and he's one of the leading apostles, he said, upon this rock will I build my church. So pretty much Yahushua was consoling him. He said, look, it's written. You're going to deny me. All men will deny me because the sheep, they're going to smite the shepherd and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. And that that prophecy right there even came all the way to when we were put on ships. We were scattered abroad to a land which, where we wouldn't even understand the language of the people that were our captors. They destroyed our leader right there. That just proves to you right there also how the Israelites are those people that were taken in ships into slavery across the entire earth. So he consoled the leader of the pretty much of his apostles, which is Peter, and told him, look, man, you're going to deny me, but it's written. There's nothing you can do. Overcome this, strengthen yourself, and continue to preach the word, because, it's going to be a stain on you. No, everyone's going to, and this it's written in the Bible. Everyone knew that he denied Christ 3 times. It didn't talk about any of the other apostles. It just talked about Peter doing it. Okay. We'll just look down to verse 33. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men may, here we go. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. That's was Peter's heart right there. He said, everybody may be offended because of you, but I will never be offended because of you. And, Yahushua had to let him know. He said, Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Just imagine the guilt when you put everything into something and you believe into something and, you deny it. But it's prophecy. You can't overcome prophecy. And the same thing for you, Esau, Edomites. You won't be overcoming this prophecy. You will be going into slavery. Your time is up. Everything's being put in place. And just like it's written down in this Bible, that's how it's going to go down. All right. Now, just the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is Pilate. Now, Pilate, he was turned over. Yahushua was turned over to the Romans. Pilate. What did Pilate have to do? He had to put Yahushua before the people of Judea, and he had to make them make the decision. If a lot of people don't understand why he did that, Yahushua was known as King of the Jews. If he would have just up and just crucified him without, first entreating the people. Let's look up the word entreat. I had looked that up. Entreat is ask someone earnestly or anxiously to do something. Treat in a specified manner. The king I fear hath entreated her. There's an example, but you entreat the people. You ask them earnestly. He brought Yahushua and Barabbas before the people, and he made the people pick Barabbas to be freed and leave Yahushua to be crucified, because he was also known as the King of the Jews. If you would have just up and just said, all right, we're going to just crucify him without a hearing before the people, he could have quite possibly had a riot on his hands that he couldn't control. He would have ended up being crucified. So, that's why he washed his hands of it. He wanted the people to feel like they made the decision in crucifying Yahushua, and it wasn't just solely the Romans doing this and just, having a crucifixion without and first entreating the people. All right. So now I want to let's go to Zephaniah. So pretty much a cease and desist order was put on the house of David, put on Peter, and he didn't want his ministry and his what he was preaching for the kingdom to go out by the sword. That was going to be Esau. That's how Esau brought Christianity to the world. But he put that cease and desist order on Peter. But that thing is coming up. We can see what's going on now. We've never seen a building just crumble like it did in Miami. I mean, it just crumbled. And I believe someone said that they could see a chariot behind it. And I could see that. You could see this big ball of light. When one of the videos showed Miami condo crumble, you could see that light up in the clouds as the building just crumbled. I was like, I wonder if anyone else see it. And then someone said there, I think that one of the camp heads in Charlotte or North Carolina saw it too. And yeah, I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing this man's kingdom crumble. We're seeing prophecy take place. Sometimes, we're going through each day. We're watching the signs. We're watching this what's going on in the news, in society. And something's get a little bit stale. And Most High, he'll give us these faith boosters like what happened in Miami. Boy, we're like, oh, yeah, it's going down. It's coming. It's happening. So what did the king say? What did the king say to his people? He said, Zephaniah 3:8, he said, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. He said, wait for me until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, and we see them gather, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation. Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. I mean, now all these people that think that everyone's going to make it and be prosperous in the kingdom of heaven, just look at this. He said, for my determination, this is the Yahweh Hashem speaking here, is to gather the nations. I mean, these nations have been, Psalm 83, they've been gathered, they've had their NATO, they've had their United Nations, the headquarters is in New York. Now we have them all gathered. They're gathering right around Yahweh Chupat in the Middle East. What is today called the Middle East? And he says he's going to pour upon them mine indignation and even my fierce anger. So we know he's coming for somebody, but apparently there's some nations that he's going to gather and he's going to handle them. So all these people out here scoffing about everyone can make it. They just don't understand the Bible. They don't have the spirit. They're not taking up on the new wine. They're still using Christianity breakdowns to try to understand the Bible. But, the men of the true prophets are out there on the highways and byways. And thankfully for people like me on the internet pushing this word out. So, we're getting the right breakdowns. So the king said, we're the prisoners. We're in the prison gates. He done came, he done knocked on our gates, and he told us, he said, wait for me till I rise up to the prey. And we see him with all these things going on. We see him rising up to the prey. So, we must, like it says, when you suffer, the suffer is to wait patiently. And that's what we're going to continue to do, suffer and wait. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this there. I'm going to say, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Honors to those that I've learned from. Double honors to their teachers, the apostles of Israel. And shalom to those of Yasharallah, seeking the truth, seeking righteousness, and hope for edification. Yeah, this is almost over. We're going to watch our king rise up to the prey. And we're all going to be screaming, Kahala, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. All praises. Praise you, Father. Thank you. Hallelujah.